Welcome to the show.
We just did an intro together. Spenny, drink the milk. Drink the milk.
The Baltimore Ravens will host the AFC Championship game in Baltimore for the first time in Baltimore Ravens franchise history. They take down the Houston Texans 34-10. Welcome to the show, presented by The Milk. For the milk of the milk of the milk.
Drink it.
The milk was promised. The milk will come.
Oh my milk promised, milk delivered. Let's go. Go.
Chug.
Milk.
I love the go.
Milk. Don't milk.
Oh.
Milk. It's a brain kick. Milk that jug.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's back for more. Come on.
Oh my God.
2/3.
You need some milk?
It's so cold. It's so fucking cold. It seems horrible.
Wait, you guys over there on the stream, do you guys need milk? No, enough for all of us.
Oh my God.
Ironically, we're like a matter of like a few hundreds of yards of. Oh boy.
Oh no.
No!
Oh no. Oh, what an effort.
Oh,
Poppy.
Oh my God.
oh the franchise! The franchise trying to shut it down.
Oh, don't turn it off.
Oh,
we're moving it down. Oh wow.
No.
oh,
my
no!
Wow. Oh, there's a crowd forming in Club Spenny.
I hate seeing that.
34-10. Lamar Jackson accounts for 4 touchdowns.
Oh! Oh, this is extraordinary.
This is one of the incredible kick and rally situations I've seen in. Oh my goodness!
That's all right,
How much is left?
I think there's a significant amount left in the gallon.
I did not realize it was going to be a gallon.
But I think there's more spirit left in that in Spenny. I think there is so much more spirit in Spenny than there is left in that gallon.
I don't know if we're gaining viewers or losing viewers right now, but
I mean, I would say if you're checking out right now, then
and there it is.
Oh, for 4 touchdowns, 2 and 2.
Please to God, donate. Like if you're on the fence, please donate.
Oh my God! If you're not
donate to what?
I don't know what you're doing.
Donate a ticket for the AFC Championship game.
Please to God, we beg of you.
Oh.
Oh, it's empty. I didn't realize it was empty.
Yeah, he finished it. He finished it. Oh my Lord.
I don't know what to make of that. I don't know where I'm a loss for words here.
If you want more milk, you go to the AFC Championship game, you buy the ticket, and you yell louder. The bank was relentlessly loud. There is nothing that we won't do to pack the bank.
There was a point pregame where there was a point with I had a bucket on pregame out in the lot H with Spen, and he said, "Fucking hit me!" And I wrecked him a couple times, and then his response after a couple headbutts was, "I drink whole milk," which I said, "I'm not sure that there's more calcium in whole milk than there is in any other kind of milk, but I think he was operating under the assumption that whole milk had an extraordinary more kind of calcium, and if so facto,
Where are we going?
bone protection ability for his skull because he drinks whole milk.
We're beyond the milk. The milk happened. If you weren't there, you missed it. The milk has occurred already. Let's talk about what happened today.
Let's get to the game.
Baltimore Ravens score 24 points in 34-10. The Baltimore Ravens will host the first AFC Championship game in franchise history. Your favorite quarterback's favorite quarterback, Lamar Jackson, accounts for 252 yards, 4 touchdowns, 100 yards on the ground, 121.8 passer rating, spreads the ball out. How many receivers caught a pass today? Zay Flowers caught 4. Rashad Bateman caught 3. Rashad Bateman with what I will say, a very coming-of-age performance, catching big first downs multiple times, able to go catch some tough passes there, and huge conversions made. Guys, I'll pass it to you. I might have to throw up again, but I will say this.
That's a tap out if I've ever seen one.
The reason that the Ravens make the change from Greg Roman to Todd Monken is because the Texans came out, like we talked about in the preview show, and blitzed the shit out of Lamar Jackson. It was an issue. They get sacked multiple times towards the end of the first half. Didn't have an answer for it. Come back after halftime, and Lamar Jackson eviscerated the blitz. Throws 2 touchdowns against it. What more could you ask for? Are you not entertained? I will say this was a performance that felt like you were watching a borderline Ed Reed, Ray Lewis type of player in terms of grit in Baltimore, but he's playing quarterback instead. I'll pass it to you, boys.
Banks?
I mean, I think his halftime narrative, what he said about it is right on point, because that first half was a little nerve-wracking. I think it was one of those first halves where we definitely were in control of it, per se. We played the better first half. The punt return was obviously extremely oh my God, did that get everybody a little uneasy? It's like, oh shit. If they're going to score a special teams touchdown, that's high recipe for one of those just shocking losses. And we could have fed into that. We could have sat back and been like, oh, weird football game. But the way we came out after half and just moved the football and just stuck to the plan, we didn't try to make big chunk plays. We just kind of leaned on our ability to make first downs into 2nd and 3s and just got downhill on people. Justice Hill had a really good football game. Gus Edwards, really good football game. Offensive line, run blocking, tremendous football game. We imposed our will on the Houston Texans today. We said, hey, we are simply not going to let this second half get away from us. We're not going to let the freakishness of football that can happen from time to time. We're not going to let this happen in our building tonight. We imposed our will on the Houston Texans, and we just won that football game by just being we're better. We're going to flex our betterness on you guys. And ultimately, obviously, we won the football game. I think that sounds like such a general summation of the entire game, but it's the truth of it. That's exactly I don't know how much more to dive into a little analysis and pieces of it. We just said, hey, we're fucking better than you. We're going to win. That's exactly what we did.
A lot of X's and O's stuff that I want to dive into. I was breaking this down. I took a ton of notes. I was like, fuck, man, this is what it's all about. No. When they returned that punt, I was like, oh, wow, that's it. We're going to lose. That's that's a total fan thing to do, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's just kind of the way that it is. I did that, and then all of a sudden, Lamar Jackson, they come back after the half, and he has that rushing touchdown in the to open the second half. And that was no, they're just going to win this thing, and they're going to make it happen. And ultimately, they did, and it wasn't too much to really make of it. It was just kind of a simple win, ultimately.
It was good. No. It was a narrative changing, fuck the narrative. Second half, I'm at halftime, things are changing, things are getting weird, like just like they have gotten in the past. And narrative was like, I'm taking control of this game. I don't know what the time of possession was between the two teams in the second half, but I would guess it was like 22 minutes to 8 minutes. Like, we just dominated that second half, controlled the game every which way. Lamar was beautiful in the game. And what was amazing was he didn't even make chunk plays. He didn't throw the ball down the field. He was just like, we are just going to do what we do. This is our football game. We're going to be patient about it. We're just going to push forward, move the chains, short the chains on early downs. Like, they were just so freaking good in that second half. I can't imagine being on the Houston Texans sideline and being CJ Stroud and just being suffocated the entire time while the Ravens just won that game straight up.
Fantastic. I mean, amazing to be in the
Turn the mic
crowd.
out the other way.
How's this?
That's good.
Is this good?
Yeah, that's the nice.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was amazing being in the crowd while CJ Stroud was trying to make a go of it, because, like, I don't know, like it was just one of those things where it's like, I said this in the preview, where if you can just get going and just get a lead ahead of them, and they didn't really do that, but like once it turned into the second half and they started to kind of do that, I was like, you know what, it seems like we're kind of getting to that point. That's when I knew that it was going to work out okay. And like ultimately, like that's where it was, but I don't know. It was just kind of that kind of deal. But CJ Stroud, he'll be okay. But tonight, not so much. And we
Not
like
so
that.
much.
Yeah, we like.
Not so much. Yeah, well said. No, I think you guys said it well. I think, Banks, you said the right words. The Ravens imposed their will in the second half. It was a total will imposure in really all sides of the ball. It was a total masterclass. And being there, as all four of us were, was unbelievable to watch in every single way. It had all the makings of like sitting at the half and having a tight butthole. The Ravens should have been up at the half. They were controlling the game for the most part. Spenny said it. Jordan Stout hit the worst punt that's ever been hit to allow Houston to return it for a touchdown. The ball went up, and I think maybe everybody in the stadium went, "Oh God!"
Dude, I said
That-
what is in the air? I was like, dude, this is
That was a bad punt for like JV football. That was a bad punt. It came off. It looked like it came off the end of his foot. There was no trajectory. He didn't boot it. It wasn't like a 45 even plus. It was a low, weak line drive, dead to the returner.
Horrible.
As if you were trying to practice how to put a returner in a good position to like get their confidence up during practice. And my God, he just hit it. And to Jake's point, it's like, here we go again. Here's something stupid happening. Here's a monkey wrench that we haven't seen happen during the regular season. That didn't happen during the regular season. The Bengals had what was that? Week 2, week 3, they played the Bengals and they had a big punt return, but it still didn't even look like that. So to overcome that was a big step. And to overcome the sacks at the end of the first half, it was punt return touchdown, complete mayhem in terms of picking up the blitz. And to be able to come out and flip the switch like that, you can't say that Lamar Jackson, you can't say that Todd Monken, that John Harbaugh, that this Baltimore Ravens team didn't overcome a negative script or a poor situation against a team that did just bludgeon a good Browns defense. So they climbed out of that dark place and then climbed Mount Everest. And my God, man, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson.
I think the reason I wasn't worried at the half is CJ Stroud, who is really good. I mean, we've talked about the Stroud boys all year long. Spenny is one of the head Stroud boys. He's fantastic. But what they were getting done, I felt like was never really like on schedule for them. It was a lot of times he would move away from pressure and make ridiculous plays and great throws down the field. And then the Ravens would kind of bend but not break. And then they just imposed their will to start taking out. It was a euphoric time in the second half. That's how I would describe the entire second half. But yeah, I mean, Monken just flipped it. I mean, Spenny, you can sort of summarize it better than anyone, but the way he adjusted to what the Texans were doing was awesome. The
thing that I love most, what I saw from Monken, was him moving the pocket. He started getting Lamar out, away, and moving the launch point. He did it to the right, he did it to the left, and then he started going tempo to run the ball, and that's where Justice Hill really started getting going, who had a sweet game, to Brian's point.
Yep. He was very good.
Yeah, I kind of feel as though, and I've said this over the years, like from year to year, where it's like we're finding ways to maybe keep the leash on Lamar a little bit, just like don't fully unleash him in ways like on run plays and options and RPOs and all those types of things. Like he obviously throws the ball downfield and he does the things he does, but I felt like we unlocked it a little bit more in that second half, just a teensy bit, just because sometimes you just gotta unlock it when it's needed a little bit more. And obviously, like it's when you do that, it's just so unstoppable. Like there were plays too. It's not by design where he drops back and maybe the coverage is good. There's nothing that he really likes out there. And he just says, fuck it. I'm taking the 25 in front of me, 25 yards right there in front of me. He did that one time, at least tonight. Another time he probably took another 10 or 12. He doesn't do that maybe as much as he should, or he waits and tries to make a bigger play. And sometimes it's a boom, sometimes it's a bust, but tonight he took those yards, and I think the weather and the situation at hand called for it. And I think there's something to be said about that proper decision making. Like he didn't try to do too much. If you look at the team stats, this wasn't a game where anybody was going to gain 500 yards. Like the Ravens defense, I think they held them to 213 yards. Like we could have expected that. Yeah. But it was just like proper football for the situation at hand. And surely we could have gone into a little bit of a panic mode at halftime or late in the first half when things were closer than maybe we expected it to be. But I don't know. I feel like there's a degree of when there's a close game in a game where you're supposed to be better than the other team, I think it speaks a lot to the confidence and just how good this team is to not be a little bit what's the right word for it?
Flustered, frazzled,
but like there's like a degree of like not fraudulence, but like not true confidence in your actuality of being as good as you are.
Like we saw from the Cowboys.
Like
the Cowboys had this last week.
Yeah. Like I'm struggling to find the right word for it, but you can be a great team, but you don't have that substance behind your awesomeness that really like supports your
It wasn't
awesomeness.
cheap. There was character to it. It was deep.
The 2019 team blew teams out, was awesome, but like it was always this cloud of like, are we a flash in the pan? And then when things went sideways for them, it was like, are we questioning ourselves here? Like
they didn't have the ability to overcome adversity. They weren't tested. They weren't battle tested. They hadn't like out of iron. There was no scar tissue.
Which isn't to say that this team necessarily has been to the degree that, I don't know, some other teams might be, but they were just like so committed to the cause, so committed to what needed to happen in that second half. They came in and just did the job. Like second half commitment to what they were going to do in that half offensively was just brilliant. Just freaking brilliant, man. Just an awesome second half. I'm just awesome.
And the ability for them to go make splash plays against the run, Jadeveon Clowney crashing down the line, to go fit and fill and play aggressively, Roquan Smith making plays, Travis Jones making plays, Michael Pierce making plays, to go fit and fill against the run the way they did. I did. The big miss that I had of the day was that I thought Devin Singletary might have, 70, 80 yards rushing in this one. He had one big run, but my God, man, they made the plays. It felt like Mike McDonald had a really strong sense of where the Texans put teams in the danger zone, which is on first down, second down, in the run pass splits. And the Ravens, for whatever reason, they might have had some tendencies, things like that, but were able to pick it up and then go make sure it was second and long. or on second and medium, it became third and long. In those situations, I think the Ravens ended up having forcing 3 3-and-outs in this game, which is massive at home.
Yeah, they just put on a show in every way. I almost don't even have much to say. I'm just so happy. I'm just so thrilled. Like, take it, Jake.
Oh,
Yeah.
get them in the mic. Yeah.
Who was on the call today? I'm curious.
It was Buck and Aikman.
How were they?
I was at the game, Jake. I saw you at the tailgate.
Oh, gee, I hate to hear that. I hate to hear that so much. I was just like,
We talked about this. He was at the game, but he was going to be in the club level as one does.
Yeah,
I knew you were at the tailgate. I didn't know what the plans were beyond that. And
No,
I
I mean,
was just like, man, I'd
obviously-
love to get some
obviously-
scouting on the who's going to be calling it, of course.
Yeah, I was assuming they were great. They do a great job most weeks, but I was there. Club level, Jake, as you know, club level. You know, can't have it without that. But Buck and Aikman was Buck and Aikman, according to Kyle Kramer on our.
It's me. I'm in control of everything going on over here.
You know what?
Somebody's
It
got to
was
be.
a fantastic day. It was a great day.
It was a great day. You can't ask for much better.
You can't ask for much more, can you?
Who's got it better than us? We want Taylor. Was a little bit of a chant that broke out of the stadium. We want Taylor. I know that you love that one.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard
we
him.
did break into that.
I heard him. I would love to have her here next week. That would be unbelievable. Benny, who do you want to play? Benny, who do you want to play? The Chiefs or the Bills?
There's no correct answer. There's no correct answer to that because
It's a great question.
because I think that both present equal challenges. But I also want the Ravens to have the hardest path possible. And to be honest, the Ravens should have done what they did to a rookie quarterback and head coach. This is what was expected of John Harbaugh and the norm that he created. What they did today is what they should have been doing for years. They should have throttled the Titans at home in 2019.
Yeah.
That's what it matters, right? Like, it's crazy.
What was that?
I can't. You know, I'm so.
Could you repeat that, please?
I certainly cannot. You know.
I certainly can't.
Thanks. Do you have a preference?
Preference on Bills Chiefs?
Yeah, you were calling them both out when you were hitting your phone into your head on Twitter.
God, there's such a brilliant, and I'm a thirsty boy. I'll call myself on it. I'm
My
thirsty. I'm a hungry boy. I want to take down each one of these two teams. Like I really do. Like the Chiefs angle with Kelsey and Mahomes and obviously Taylor Swift coming to the bank. Are you kidding me? To have the opportunity to slay that and really like slay the king and take the king of the mountain and go to the Super Bowl and go with that. I mean, that's a brilliant narrative. But at the same time, I think the Bills are probably the better team of the two, just slightly. And the narrative, I wrote a good lengthy blog about narratives today. I think the big guy who has not broken through and gone to the Super Bowl or won the Super Bowl, it's Lamar is probably the poster boy for that. But Josh Allen is not far behind him. He's like right there.
I think that will defer depending on who you talk to about it.
Sure.
And those kinds of things.
But
the other aspect that I want to bring into this, and I'll pass it back to you, Brian, is that the Chiefs and Mahomes have the don't let them get hot to them. Where suddenly it's like, oh, they're back in the AFC Championship. Oh, shit.
Not afraid of them, though.
Oh, shit. And the other aspect is that if the Bills do win, then I feel like, to your point, Brian, the only player or quarterback that has that much pressure on them is Josh Allen, where both Lamar and Josh Allen will feel that on their shoulders a little bit more so, where it feels like Mahomes, if the Chiefs were to win that game, might have a little bit of a deadly narrative combination of, oh shit, don't let them get hot. And also they have nothing to lose. They made it back to the AFC Championship game. That's a deadly combination.
I think I've just decided I like the Chiefs to come to the bank more just because it's a little more of a dragon slay.
We want Taylor. We want Taylor.
If the Bills come here, they have a little more hunger, and that's fine. Like I'm not afraid of the hunger, but it's like I don't know. Like they were kind of like down in the dumps midseason, and they got here, and I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. It's a great place to be where you're deciding between these two. And I wrote about this morning, like, hey, like, what a brilliant opportunity for us. Brilliant for us to just go out here and just do our job today, please, which is what we did. Did it brilliantly, but to just have the choice between these two and slay narratives, like this is
What I think is so fun is that the Ravens were the first game of the weekend, and now they get to kind of just sit back and badassery.
exactly.
That's such a fun.
And by the way, when you get the 4:30 Saturday game as the number 1 seed, you're getting disrespected.
But it's the best. It's the best spot in the world. Can you imagine? Like, if we had to wait until Sunday night, the worst spot in the world that would have been horrendous.
I totally agree. I'm just you got the worst. They got the worst, but you're right. Now they have the best situation. You get the day rest.
Boys,
It's nice.
passion fruit or pineapple?
Pineapple.
Done.
Cracked it open. Yeah, I would like the Chiefs. I need Taylor Swift in the stadium next week. That would be just the dream come true for me.
You're going to be in the house for that one, I assume.
That's my
I will be.
preferred situation.
Okay.
Yeah, I will be in the house. I will also let you know again that I'm going, just so that sticks in your mind for you.
Okay.
I will be.
Are you gonna be like pushing the mist? Be like, hey Taylor.
I need to look up what section is in front of whatever suite that Chiefs are going to be.
Oh my God.
Gonna be fully across where you're like, hey Taylor.
I've thought about whatever seats,
it'll look, and I'm still going to do it.
Whatever like season tickets that are probably just like kind of mediocre, but lower level of whatever seats those have been that at the Chiefs Stadium that are at that last row. I can't imagine just like the value of those seats that have skyrocketed. Of like, oh yeah, we're right in front of the box that Brittany Mahomes. It's like, okay, and then when Taylor is just in that box regularly, like that skyrocket of those seats. That's the hottest seat in NFL. It really is. Like the swag is surfing. Like seriously, like to be that seat right in front of that box. That's so many people would pay thousands and thousands of dollars to have that seat. Tell me if I'm wrong.
There's so much great audio coming from the other window. It's even hard to listen to you, Brian.
That's fair. I get it.
Taylor will Taylor, and
I gotta go.
It was just, I mean, to go back to this performance, a couple of things we didn't talk about here. You know, the CJ Stroud was nice on third down early in this game. Nico Collins is a big play, able to get off the football field. The Ravens convert in the red zone every single time. They were so calm, cool, and collected once they got the ball down into the high red zone and were able to just turn touchdowns out. The Nelson Aguilar touchdown early on to find the end zone and find pay dirt. It kind of felt like a real moment of don't let them get hot, and letting Lamar score that touchdown and go take a lead in a playoff game was a huge moment for them to get going, man. It really, 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 truly felt like their ability to not turn the football over was huge. Their ability to convert in the red zone calmly, coolly, collected, go make those plays was huge. Kaimi Fairbairn ends up missing a huge extra point. And again, I'm just going to point back to Todd Monken. It was clunky. There's a ton of reports coming out from Jeff Zrebeck saying that, Lamar basically flipped out at halftime, and not flipped out in a bad way, flipped out in a way of what the fuck are we doing here? Let's, it's amateur hour. Let's step up. It's the playoffs. And that's the leadership that you've wanted to see. And that's what the Ravens paid Lamar Jackson to do beyond just his talent itself. And to know that that's how it went down and see the result feels like a dragon has been awoken in this team that has been dormant and capable and there, but to do it in the playoffs in the single elimination tournament with all the fucking chips pushed into the middle of the table was crazy. And then for Mike McDonald's defense on the other side, we have strength and vision here in the comments. The slot blitzes, the corner blitzes, the cat blitzes, everything they did was so fucking money defensively to
Oh my God.
translate those. And that's why that punt was so tough, because it was a 10-3 game. Ravens, get a stop, get the ball back, and, end up having to punt. And then wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's 10-0 after the shittiest punt ever.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like at 10-3 they were going to have the control of the game they ended up having when they made it 17-10, where you get one stop and you kind of roll downhill at that point. And the punt is just what sort of changed the tenor of the game for that brief period of time. And then, Spenny, you pointed out before, the 2 sacks on Lamar at the end of the half just like took the wind out of the stadium to a certain extent going into halftime. I think that really got people sort of nervous. And then they totally took that away. The Lamar Jackson fiery locker room speech is, I think, what every Ravens fan has been waiting for that he hasn't given yet. It's like this guy has essentially done everything except delivered a Super Bowl, delivered AFC Championship, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of on field, it's like you're waiting for him to just go in and be like, all right, this is my team. Everybody knows this is my team, but you have other leaders that are involved. Obviously, Roquan Smith's a very vocal leader on the other side of the ball. But to just roll in there and then for teammates to come out, and you're seeing the quotes come out like, Nelson Aguilar, there's something in him right now. It's been in with him all year, but there's really something in him right now, and I'm with it. I'm with it. Like, he's taking control of where this is going, and that, I think, is the thing people have been waiting for him to do, to show that super vocal, demonstrative leadership, as opposed to kind of his vibes leadership. Like, we're just like, we're rolling and we're doing it. To go in there and do that in the most important halftime of your season, when there's the scar tissue from 2019 and previous playoff games past that have not gone well over the last couple of years, for him to do that is sort of another moment of ascension for a guy that can't ascend much higher at this point unless he, wins the Lombardi Trophy. That's the next step for him. But that's awesome. I mean, that's just absolutely awesome to see from this guy. And we have done a lot of shenanigans in here. This dude was fucking fantastic tonight in every single way. And so good in the second half.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. I think he's led by example with his play, like the last several weeks, obviously. But like I think back to, and like the last couple of weeks, for whatever reason, I was thinking back to a report that Brian, funny enough, put out there about like him talking about the speech that he gave to the guys in Tennessee, in Nashville, when they were going to go out there, and he kind of put it out there that like, we got to get this done, like we have to fucking do this, and then they, he did, and then they did it. This game, it was kind of the same situation. It was like, we have to fucking do this. Like, this is not like, we cannot afford to like let this thing slip through our hands. And, they put it through. And like, he was on that, he was on that shit. So like, I'm
Spitty blowing kisses.
Of course, yeah. It's
He was adoring.
One might say that it was a creamy victory from Lamar Jackson,
How creamy was
who put up.
I'll just simply say that the first two halves of the first two drives of the second half were obviously where we took total control of the game. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. We got the ball out of half. I'll just walk you through it. Lamar, 9 yards to Aguilar. Lamar, 19 yards to Isaiah Likely. Lamar runs for 3 yards. Lamar, short right to Bateman for 9 yards. Incompletion, Lamar for 15 yards. On the ground, touchdown. Just like Lamar. He took control of the game and said, hey, we knew all along, and that was in the back of everybody's head of the situation at hand, in that like weird late first half, and it was just kind of like, yeah, it was, whatever, we'll just deal with it, and like, hey, we can fall back on it. We got a punt going after that touchdown drive, and then we led a 12-play, 93-yard, 7-minute drive. That is the entire game right there. That drive is what we're talking about. Gus for 9, Gus for 5, Lamar to Bateman for 21, Lamar to Zay Flowers for 5, Justice for 3, Justice for 1, Lamar for 14 on the ground, incompletion, Lamar to Justice Hill for 8, Justice to Hill for 3, and then There
was a lot of
plays.
Yeah,
no, we just
There's a lot
like
of plays on this drive.
methodical, just
There were in fact a lot of
methodical,
plays in the drive.
methodical movement down the field, just like ownership and control of the game, which was like almost a little vintage 2019, which again, we don't talk about 2019, but like it was
2019 is dead and gone. That is
but it was a little bit of that type of attitude of we are the better team. We're just gonna flex on you, and we're not gonna panic that this is a game that we shouldn't even be in terms of closeness, and we're just gonna be better and win. That's what the second half was. We're better than you. We're gonna win this game. You are going to bend at our will. Let's just flex our muscle and win. That's exactly what the second half was.
So Lamar Jackson was blitzed 18 times. He ends up going 13 of 18 just on attempts with 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. And in the second half, the Ravens got the ball in 2.25 seconds, which was such a awareness of there is an issue, and then having the comprehensive plan already in place. It didn't need to be an on-the-fly adjustment. It was just, we need to change our play calling, have a different sense of urgency, and make sure that the ball comes out. And it was as simple as that. And that is something that these Ravens haven't been able to do. And that's why they haven't made it to this point. They haven't made it to this point because defenses spam something against them. That's what we have beaten to death in the preview shows. The Titans flooded the middle of the field and played inverted coverage on the outside and said, hey, you're not going to throw it over the middle of the field. And we're going to fit every gap. And they're going to do that over and over and over. The Ravens didn't have an answer. We think back to that Miami Dolphins game on Thursday night before Lamar Jackson gets hurt, where it's, all right, we're just going to line up in these zero fronts, these zero pressure umbrellas, and you're going to, we're going to drop off the other way. We're going to take away your immediate read, and you're not going to be able to smoothly operate. So it was almost sad in a sense that it felt so good to see them overcome something that was simple. It was, we're going to blitz the shit out of you. And finally, they were able to overcome the spam, the fried ham in the can of whatever a defensive coordinator was going to do to them. And that's been the issue, right? Ever since 2019, they didn't have issues against the blitz, really. They just had a shitty playoff game. The next year, they kind of putz around. They end up running the ball a ton in 2020, late in that weird COVID year. They run the ball, use a bunch of jet sweep and veer and bash, and then they go play the Bills, and the Bills blitz the shit out of them. They snap the ball over their own heads. They throw pick sixes against the blitz. Again, the same thing. And then last year, they just, run out of gas, get hurt. They're dealing with too many injuries. So finally, it felt like an adult in the room offensively, in the quarterback, the offensive coordinator, and everywhere else. So, Jesus, man, it felt like, and hey, maybe you can smack me in the face because I loved a lot of things that Greg Roman did, and it felt like there were such simple fixes that were quick and could have been easily in place, but they never were. So it was rewarding to see them able to beat the spam, eat the ham. But man, it was always that easy, right? So it kind of is like I feel like a psychotic person, like where I'm like, why didn't you do that earlier? How was it that hard? Why was it that hard? So
they did the simple things, man. They just did simple things. They just did what they do and just let their superiority win out. They didn't panic. They just let it happen. What happened?
Better team just won the football game in the second half.
Couldn't be better set than that.
And how about Isaiah Likely, man, who early in that second half catches a ball over the middle for a first down on a second and short, stiff arms the shit out of a DB, takes him for a ride. Later, able to go make another play up above the rim and convert a touchdown. And with so much buzz about Mark Andrews coming back and, what's going to happen, so on and so forth, just balled the fuck out in the second half, was the reliable big force of a tight end. And I also want to say this, I'll go Travis Kelce, Greg Olsen, George Kittle right now. Let's just give some love for tight ends in general, man. I mean, those guys are big physical presences, And it feels like these teams that go far in the playoffs, Kincaid, Kelsey, George Kittle, freaking Musgrave on the Packers making plays as we speak. Tight ends don't get enough love in general. And it feels like in the postseason, tight ends are a dominating force because there's such a mismatch.
They agree. They agree back there. Tight ends are a dominating force.
Definitely not laughing too loud on purpose.
As we hit the 41-minute mark, Ravens will host their first AFC. Did everyone see the stat? First AFC championship game since 1971. That is ridiculous considering the success of this franchise since it came into obsession.
First one at the bank, baby.
The biggest home game in the history of the franchise. There was a lot of talk, fellas. Let's end on this. There was a lot of talk this week about the environment, what it would look like. It was cold. What would you guys grade the environment at the bank?
Oh my God, it was as good as you could ask for.
Yeah, I'd give it an A.
I would agree.
Listen, I said my thing on maybe Thursday, maybe Friday of, hey, shame on you people if you're selling your tickets. But with that said, and we talked about this in the lot today, if you're selling those tickets, and this is with the context of like the Texans are never doing an invasion. It may have been different if it was a Bills or a Chiefs or a Steelers or what have you.
Different fan base for sure. Yeah.
But point being is that the tickets were being sold to people, the right people, the people who wanted to fucking be there, the gritty people, the people that just wanted to go out there and put on 3 pairs of socks and 4 pairs of Under Armour and 3 hoodies and a jacket, and they wanted to be there and be loud and be part of the bank and make the bank great again. I fucking love the people who came out today and made their presence felt because it made a difference. It made a difference, man. Like third downs,
the Texans went belly up at one point, and it felt like the crowd had a lot to do with that.
There was a moment.
Tons, yeah. Tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of false starts and all that.
Yeah, I agree. It felt like the crowd totally affected the game. There was I was getting some texts like 15 minutes out about as they were showing live shots, where is everybody? Where is everybody? There were thousands of people just in the concourse. So they didn't want to face being in the stadium any longer than you had to be, which was fair. It was freezing, but it was an awesome environment. And one I will not forget for a long time. So I think all of the concern about like the get-in price and people not showing up, that did not come to bear. The was awesome. So anyway, wow. Spenny or Jake, any last word from you guys?
This analysis was instant. So that's really what we were trying to do. And ultimately, that seems what we did. So
well said. Spenny?
Well said.
Yeah.
Go Ravens.
Banks, you and Lil B got
Go Birds, Han.
Well said. Go Birds.
Go Birds, Han.
Like and subscribe. Go to Don't Know right now. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. All
like,
that stuff.
Subscribe. We will be back this week. Content, the jumbo set, the regular pod, leading into the AFC Championship game Sunday afternoon against either the Bills or the Chiefs. A wonderful instant analysis after any of these type of wins. It was instant, as you said, Jake. It was wonderful. It was and if you got in here late, please fast forward and watch Spenny drink the milk at the beginning. That was a guy that did it all for his franchise. That was the SX52 instant analysis. Let's fucking go.